Echoes of Power, the Three Phases of American Decline. Tonight, we tell a story not of triumph, but of an arc bending under pressure. 3 phases over the past 30 years in which a superpower finds its grip loosening. These are moments when ordinary people felt power wobble, when alliances strained, and when American leadership began to look more like a question than a certainty. Phase 1. Primacy in Question, 1994-2001. The 1990s opened with a simple recipe: open markets, bind nations with trade, let diplomacy be the engine of peace. For a moment, the world seemed to fit itself to one author, the United States. But the weight of belief began to bend. In Detroit, Maria watched supply chains cross borders with hopeful arithmetic. More work, more stability, more mornings where a family could breathe easier. Power was something you could see on a factory floor, in a pay stub, in a child's future. In a glass-walled office, negotiators spoke confidently about NAFTA and the liberal order, but beneath it a murmur grew. What if openness wasn't enough to keep rivals at bay? Still, there were moments of generosity. On a Balkan hillside, a child's laughter rose as a US helicopter glinted in the sun, an emblem that diplomacy could replace the roar of bombs. Phase 2. The Strain of Overreach, 2001-2009. This was the hinge moment. 2001 did not add a chapter, it redefined the book. The mission grew heavier. The world watched to see if the weight could be carried. In a Pennsylvania living room, a family watched casualty figures climb. A nation tried to justify urgency with nobility, while a kitchen table kept its own tally of fear. Public opinion flickered across screens, 71% support in 2002, just 30% by 2008. Trust in leadership became a fragile thread. In Iraq, Omar's market told a parallel tale. Reconstruction funds arrived like a gust of wind, then stalled behind checkpoints. The sense that promises were being weighed against risk grew heavier. In New York, a daughter asked what this meant for tomorrow. Her father's silence answered in a language headlines couldn't translate. The cost of action abroad had landed at the dinner table. Phase 3. The Fractured Return, 2009-2021. This era unfolded in 2 streams: cautious revival and stubborn fragility. In some capitals, American leadership resonated. In others, it sank like a ship losing its lighthouse. Barack Obama spoke with measured optimism. There were moments when the world seemed willing to lean toward American leadership, if alliances remained credible, if values remained shared. A nurse in Berlin described vaccine diplomacy as an unglamorous seam of cohesion. In Lagos, an entrepreneur learned that help could still come with a dozen forms. Then the Biden hour. America was back, but the table had grown larger, crowded with new partners and old suspicions. The Trump shadow loomed. America First landed like a troubling echo. Alliances were tested when the tune shifted from consensus to caution. In a Brussels cafe, a negotiator pondered whether old gravity still held. The answer was not in a single speech, but in 1,000 careful conversations. Epilogue. These 3 acts tell a story not of failure, but of a nation learning to walk in a world where power no longer promises a single path. The decline of the United States is not a verdict. It is a call to rebuild. One conversation, one contract, and one enduring vow to ask harder questions about what leadership is for and whom it's meant to protect.